Last up, we have everyone's favorite type of graph. It is a pie graph. Hooray. So this data came from the interwebs, the American Marketing Association, conducted last year because there was a big hoopla on people working on Thanksgiving, and it asked employees, actually I think it was a national survey, about what they thought. In a pie graph, what you do is you take the circle and divide it into pieces. I'm going to center it right about there. That looks good. Typically what happens is you put the largest slice of the pie in the upper right portion, and you just go clockwise from there on out in decreasing sizes. There's no set rule about that, so you could mix it up if you want to. In fact, I think Office does not follow that at all. But we're going to stick with that. So what happens is we're going to draw off this first vertical line here, and we're going to do a region that represents 43% of the population. Well, what you need to do is figure out, or remember, I should say, that there's 360 degrees in a circle. So if we do 0.43 times 360, we get 154.8, and again, this represents degrees. Now, I'm just going to eyeball it. If you want to bust out a ruler and a protractor and go to town, go for it. That's fine. But to eyeball it, just remember that if we wanted a right angle, that's 90 degrees. If you want straight out, that'd be 180 degrees. Well, 154.8 is between 90 and 180. So I'm just going to say, well, here's 90. There you go. That's enough, 154.8. So I'm just going to draw this segment in here. So this top right pie would represent no. Stores should not be open. I'm not going to write the whole thing. I'm going to erase this extra stuff here. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to multiply the percentages times 360 and then eyeball that angle. So the next smallest angle would be 28 degrees, or 28%. So we'll be doing 0.28 times 360 degrees. And that gives us 100.8. So from this new segment that we just drew, if I go right angled to it, that's 90 degrees. So a little bit more than 90 would be the 100. So about right there is good. So this would represent no time to give back. And one thing I forgot to do earlier, it's also a good idea to put the actual percentage in there so the viewer knows exactly what that slice of the pie represents. Now before continuing, I want you to note, if you did add the 14, the 12, the 28, and 43, you don't get 100%, which means there's error in this problem. If we had went out to one decimal instead of two, or to a whole number, we probably would have accounted for 100%, but due to error, we don't hit 100%. That happens. Wah, wah. All right, notice the next smallest is 14%, not 12, so they didn't go in order. So 0.14 times 360 degrees will give us the next section's region, and that's 50.4 degrees. So coming off the green, that would be 90. So a little more than half would be 54. That looks good. Or 50.4, I should say. So this one was yes, it comes with the job. And I'm going to say 14%. And lastly, we don't have to do anything special because there's only one section left. We just put in yes, and I'm just going to write depend to summarize that entire statement. Retailers depend on holiday sales, and I'm going to put 12%. All right, so that is your pie graph. Just multiply the percentage by 360 degrees, and that tells you what section to use.